Well, Eminem had signed other artists leading up to this. He had signed Obi Trice. He, of course, signed 50 Cent, D12. But you were the first white artist signed to Shady Records. So that kind of created its own aura in and of itself, where suddenly everyone, how you described it, everyone came out of the woodwork, everyone wanted to work with you, every writer, every producer, everything else like that. What was that like exactly?
I mean, I wish people would have just left me the fuck alone, to be honest, for the most part. It wasn't like that, how I made it to Marshall and how that happened, that was like, it was for me to explore and exploit, in the way that I thought was best creatively. There was so many people got in the way of that, man. So many like uninvited ideas, it was just, I tell people the best way to describe that situation was like, if you've ever seen Wayne's World and they got this great underground basement show that everyone loves, and then they get picked up by this big corporation, and now it's a studio. Now they've changed the logo. They've changed your theme song. It's all fucking dolled up. And it's like all these people are trying to get involved, and it fucks up the core creative side of it. So that freshman album, honestly, was difficult to get through creatively. And, hindsight, it's 2020, but, and the perfect scenario would have been like, oh, we inked a deal. Cool. Me and Willpower lock in Atlanta and do Trump Music Part 2. That's the first album that needs to come out, So, they wanted to redistribute Pop the Trunk and Daddy's Lambo and all those things. So they put out Trump Music 0 to 60, leading up to the freshman album that would be Radioactive. And by the time 0 to 60 was popping around, it was like Radioactive was, like everybody wanted to be a part of that album. And because I was a new artist and, I didn't want to disappoint or certainly didn't want to argue or fight with any of my, senseis, so to speak, I allowed ideas to come through, and I would try things. And, a lot of those ideas didn't work. They didn't like translate, And we got a lot of critical acclaim over Radioactive, but there was just a few songs on there that I detest, you know what I'm saying? And they weren't my ideas. They were not my ideas. They were not my production. I rapped on them because I was told it was going to be a big hit. But no one wants to hear Metallica sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, bro. It's like it, sometimes, like I knew my fan base. I knew what fan base I was building. I could see them at the show. I knew the breed, you know what I mean? The Slamerican idea that was being planted. And so the blessing of that record and some of those records are incredible. Like there are songs on Radioactive that are timeless and that I cherish, you know what I mean? It was just some of those big single attempts that I felt like weren't necessary, But it gave me the creative ability and creative freedom to do Love Story. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my sophomore album was the most important album of my career, I think, to this day. Like, it may not be like, it doesn't always, record sales and shit doesn't always mean that it's the most important album of your career. A lot of times, like, you do a project and you gain so much more out of the reception of the creative side of it and the accolades, and it can mean so much more than record sales, that like it's like more tickets through the door after that album, big festivals, like my life changed after that record. And it was just because I was let loose. But then again, I had to go through Radioactive to even click into that person,